Hey everyone, it's the Vegan Preppers here for a couple chat. Do. Enthusiasm. Do. Vegan Prepper. Do. Vegan Prepper. Okay, so Adam is back.
It's been a while.
We have Adam. Yay. I'm so excited. Yeah, and it was your idea to film today too, which was really nice. Yeah, that's cool. He only gets one day off this weekend, and he decided to spend part of it filming this for you guys. So, there you go.
I've been super busy at work the last month or so, so it's been kind of
3 months or so.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm crazy. Yep. I'm like, do you still live here? I don't even know.
Yeah. I
Poor
sleep
thing.
here.
Poor thing. Anyway, yeah, so you're basically working 11-hour days now. That's every day, and that is only that's his scheduled work time. So that's not including commute, or if you have to stay out late and drive somewhere to pick up a customer, or do all the kinds of crazy things that he has to do now that he's in management. You have to take care of all the extra stuff. So
Yep.
it's like the higher up the ladder you go, the more responsibilities you have. And man, it's been interesting. So yay, I'm so glad that you're here.
Getting it figured out.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been an adjustment. It's good though. But yeah, it's been interesting. So
yeah.
He's here. So yeah. Yay.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about some things today.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just got over a cold, and I had a negative COVID test. It wasn't COVID. But I still have like the lingering cough. So I have a cough drop. So hopefully it's not going to be like too annoying. I just don't want to be hacking my way through this video. So anyway, as an FYI, if you're like, what is she doing? What's in her mouth? Cough drop. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the things you want to talk about?
So we got to talking today about crowds because of tragedy at a concert where several people died due to just being in a crowd, really. Yeah,
it was the crush at the Astrodome festival Friday night. So today is Sunday, so it's just like a couple days ago at this point. So yeah, eight people died. It was very, very sad. Very sad.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it got us talking about some experiences that we've had with crowds, and we just kind of thought we'd share those situations with you guys, and maybe give you some tips for avoiding stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Cool. I was like, I didn't know there was going to be tips. They're all going to come from him, apparently. But yeah. So, do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, sure. So I guess, and sort of also like bringing to it where it isn't just about like discussing, a morbid news story. You guys know that that's not my style, is to like focus on a bunch of negative stuff just for the sake of talking about the sad things that happen. Even though, we are aware, we stay aware, we watch news and stuff, but it was something that we started thinking about, and specifically, like thinking about crowds of people. And like, I get caught up in trying to figure out, how does something like that happen? Right? Like how do you have a crowd of people who can clearly see that there are people on the ground in distress, and they're more focused on the concert than they are helping people? And I guess we sort of talked a little bit about it, and I personally think it's got to go back to kind of like that mob mentality, where it wasn't necessarily like a mob of people, burn the witch or anything like that, but it's like that the mob was in concert mode. So getting people to disengage from that and actually be aware of the tragedy occurring right in front of them is very difficult. So it's a scary thing, and I feel like that's got to be what it is. It's the crowds. It's like this mob mentality that takes over. And again, even if it's not like a pitchfork type thing, it's still whatever the crowd is doing, that's what the mob is doing. So it was just sort of like really really interesting. So like my story, I've shared it before. It was stupid. I got caught. So like this is also, we were talking about, I'm interrupting myself, that they're at a concert. This happened at a concert. This was a recreational activity.
Yep, they're just having fun.
There's no panic. There's no anything. They just got excited about the artist on the stage and started pressing towards the front. And unfortunately, again, just people died in that situation.
Yeah.
It's really scary. So I think it's really important to kind of like think about the fact that this is something that happened and there wasn't even a panic involved. There was no danger. Well, I mean, there was, of course, the people who were injured and the people who lost their lives. But you know what I'm saying. They're not running
People
from
trying
something.
to get away from danger.
Yeah, exactly. So like, for instance, with me, my story is my silly story. Well, I have two, right? I have the Black Friday story, but that wasn't like a big story. That was like, we've never been into the Black Friday sales. But it was like once, like a really long time ago, just one time my grandmother ended up taking me to a Black Friday sale. We got there super early. And it was like, we were just standing there in the crowd and everybody was basically quiet. But then all of a sudden somebody, like some loud guy, started yelling, and I don't exactly remember what it was that he was saying, but then some other people started yelling, and the crowd itself began to get kind of like a little bit riled, and both of us began to feel very nervous in that moment. Like I said, it only ever happened one time. We never went to another Black Friday sale again. But yeah, she was thinking it was just going to be kind of fun. We got up super early. We were going to go get a deal. And I think that that's kind of what it's supposed to be. But, it just became very like, nothing happened. There was no like riot or anything like that. Although I know that has happened on Black Friday days. But it was still very, I don't know. It was like, uncomfortable. And I'm trying to think of a specific word and I can't think of it, which is not a surprise. But, that was the one story that I was sharing with Adam. But then I've shared the story on the channel before. Last year I got caught up in a crush at Costco for toilet paper. And I had no idea that I was getting into a crush of people for toilet paper. It was, I guess, something somewhat similar to, like, not similar because nobody died. It wasn't, truly horrible. But I'm just saying the mechanism was similar to what happened in Houston, that people just began. I'm actually from Houston originally. It's very sad. We used to go to the Astrodome like for games and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's very sad. Anyway, but I just ended up getting pushed. Like, I was kind of standing waiting for toilet paper, and then all of a sudden I was caught up in this crush of people, and I was like being pushed on all sides and like moved forward, and then people in the crowd began like yelling like they're not going to have enough, or they're running out of toilet paper, or they're whatever. Like, I forget what it was, but it was basically like beginning to almost panic over toilet paper. Like, it's just toilet paper, okay? If you absolutely have to, just use your hand and then wash your hand with soap, right? Like what is literally the worst that can happen? It's toilet paper, but people were literally beginning to almost come unglued.
Yeah. Because
of the toilet paper. And again, it kind of makes me think about like that mob mentality. Is there maybe even there's something there that I hadn't thought about before, of just being in that crush of people and being too close to other people, and it feels insecure and it feels unsettled, and it begins to make people feel a little bit panicky.
We in America, I don't know if we have any viewers out of the country, but in America we are socially kind of more distant.
Bubble.
Yes, bubble. So people in like Europe, they're kind of used to people being close.
Yeah.
People in India certainly used to people being close, but in America we like our bubble.
Right. Well, we have space for it too.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot of it, is that geographically our country is so large that we have more space to spread. But yeah, it was just really interesting. But yeah, I was in that crowd, and then those people were like yelling, and then I've shared before, I started yelling. I was like, oh no, because I'm loud And so I can use my powers for good sometimes and not just for annoyance. But I started yelling, like, no, it's fine. They've got plenty. Look at how much they've got. Like, I started like yelling like a happy, like positive thing, because I was basically like, this is not how I'm going to go. Like, we're going to calm this crap down because it's just toilet paper. And like I said, at that point, I was like in the middle of this crush. There was no getting out of it. I was stuck. So it was, really nerve wracking, and it was just toilet paper. So, but you're right. That's funny. I hadn't even considered that there's like this whole cultural thing. Cause like you had that friend at work. Remember from Poland, your Polish friend?
Yes. My buddy from Poland, he would walk up and he would talk to you like this. Hi, Adam, how are you doing today? How's your morning going? And it's like, dude, why are you an inch from my face?
It's like, and I'm married to you, and I'm kind of like,
literally, that's not an exaggeration. You get them come up like extremely close to your face, smelling of coffee and cigarettes. But yeah, just like I certainly was not comfortable with that. He's a good friend of mine, but it's just like I never got used to how close he would get to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Anyway, so yeah, if there's anybody who lives in another country who wants to like talk to that, like to say, like, are you more used to being in crowds? Are you used to being closer to people? Like, let us know in the comments down below, because I think that it is like that, like, because I feel like I have heard that too. And there also might be a little bit of urban versus like, we're like Wild West people out in Arizona, right? Like, we still have a lot of space, and we're much more spread out. But I know like people probably in New York or, really congested cities like Chicago maybe might be a little bit more used to, like being on a subway or being in a crowd. And that's just so not us. Like, we're so not used to that.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm originally from Texas. It's like the wide, flat, open spaces. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, I can't even imagine living a life where you're that crushed with people all of the time. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah. All right. So people were getting unresty. That's not a word, but that's, I guess,
unrestified.
Unrestified. We're gonna stick with that one. At like just a Black Friday sale, and then like over toilet paper. And so you have your own story, or was it stories? I can't remember at this point.
I think just one.
Story, sure. Okay.
When Thad was younger,
Excuse me.
we used to go to Supercross every year, and motorcycle racing. And one year they were doing like a construction project over by the stadium where they did Supercross, and so they had fences up everywhere, so you couldn't cross the crosswalks in the streets like you normally would leaving the stadium. So there's a significant restriction to the amount of people that could exit at one time. There was just like one bridge over the construction area. So things were taking a while. It was terrible. We'd been standing kind of stationary for about 5 minutes, just waiting for people to clear this little bridge. And people started getting impatient and pushy and restless. And then very quickly the fences started getting knocked over and people started going everywhere. So I was there with Thad. I think he was maybe 7 or 8 years old. So I find myself in a situation where I have to try to figure out how to exit the situation very quickly with a child, which any of you guys have kids know that complicates the issue a lot. They don't always do what you need them to do, and they don't always understand the significance of the situation. So I basically grabbed him and turned around and stuck my pointy elbow out and started just plowing backwards, going the opposite direction of everybody, which somehow worked. I guess pointy elbow is powerful. But we were able to clear the crowd just as people were stomping over the fences, and it got bananas pretty fast. But we just kind of skirted around the whole thing, went a couple blocks out of our way to get back to the car. But yeah, it was one of those situations that erupted so rapidly, where it went from people standing in line to, I wouldn't say a riot, but a very unstable group of people.
Yeah. Well, you said a riot, but you said a mini riot.
Yeah.
Is how you described it. Like it was, they were unruly.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
I don't know if they were deliberately trying to destroy things, but they were.
Well, it's like that thing, like at the Black Friday, it just takes one person to start, being unrestified or whatever, and then like the rest of the people follow suit, or you have just a group of people, and it's that, again, just back to that kind of mob mentality where now this group of people are doing things that individually they would not do on their own. Like yes. The vast majority of these people probably would not be kicking over dividers and doing all that stuff, but when you're whipped up in a crowd of people, it becomes fun. It becomes like the social norm of that group is this action or whatever. And so it's just stuff can de-escalate very quickly and scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There could also be the added point in that chaos that now you have some panic. My reaction to panic was to go the opposite direction. Some other people's panic might be to go to push over some more gates because they feel like they need to get out faster.
Right. Which
I would not be opposed to doing to protect myself and my child. If the situation was really serious, then sure, I'll break a window. I'll do what I have to do. I'm not out there to destroy people's property, but my priority is the safety of my family. So, but yeah, I managed to find a hole. So,
but it was just interesting again. No danger.
Nope.
There wasn't a fire.
People weren't running from something.
Yeah.
Godzilla wasn't behind us.
Yeah.
Or, no fire, no...
Left a fun event.
Yep. Left a fun event.
Have to get to your car.
Just have to wait in line.
That's it.
Yep. Just gotta get to the car. Just gotta sit in line in the parking garage. I gotta get there.
Yeah.
As quickly as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. It definitely makes me think about, I've never been in a situation of any significance where there was real danger that, we need to run from. I mean, there's been, whatever, a fire or something that, you have to get away from, but nothing with a large group of people on a large scale emergency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So seeing the way people react in a non-emergency under reasonably stable conditions, it makes me worry.
Because we were talking like in my Costco story, it was toilet paper. Yep. It wasn't food. It wasn't clean water. It wasn't any of that. Now I have stories now I'm realizing that we didn't talk about before. I'm trying to decide who. I guess I can say it was my uncle. When they still lived in Texas, they live here now. But they when Hurricane Katrina hit, a lot of the, I don't know, were they refugees or were they just like the people that were taken out of New Orleans? A lot of them got put up in the Astrodome for care. And
temporary housing.
That in and of itself was kind of a horrific situation. Like it was a mess. But my uncle and my aunt were amongst the people who were attempting to help, who were going in with things like pillows and I can't remember what else he said, but I mean probably food, or I don't know if they were responsible for distributing food or if they were bringing things like that like people don't think about, which is making me all of a sudden think we need like pillows in the bug out bag kit somehow, or like in the truck kit, or so like make a note like put pillows in the truck or something like that. But anyway, like little comforts that you don't think about. And he tells the story, and it was like again, you know, now granted they faced tragedy or whatever, but people were apparently fighting, like actually fighting over those pillows, like literal fights. And he couldn't believe his eyes, and just the conditions and people. So like they're in that condition and they are, yeah, literally fighting over a pillow. Like,
yeah,
how,
whether that be desperation or just simple selfishness.
I don't know. It's just like I mean, Canadian Prepper talks about it sometimes, where like the kind of animal feral side of people will come out and in tragedy. So again, this is getting really heavy because we don't really like to talk about all this stuff. Or like, it's not that we don't like to talk about it, but like I said, we don't like to
dwell on the negative,
or we don't want to talk about it just like pointlessly.
Right.
Like, yeah, people suck. The end. You know, like that's not the point. But it sort of gets our wheels turning about, again, toilet paper, Supercross, no panic, no nothing. So then kind of extrapolating from that, imagining a situation in which food is scarce and people are fighting now potentially over food, over whatever. And then obviously, I guess now just bringing it back home to the prepping thing. Probably you guys already drew the conclusion. How can we make sure that we're avoiding such crowds?
Yeah.
You do your best, right? To be prepared, to not need the grocery store, to not need to go out. You know, it's a major form of security just to not have to go out. You know, like I remember that was why we finally foot the bill for the Berkey, because that was a huge, well, not huge, well, it's pretty darn huge expense. It was like $450 for a water filter. So
No, that wasn't. That
wasn't it with the filters included and every, like, cause we had to buy filters, we had to.
Oh yeah, we bought extra.
It was a lot.
It was like $400.
It was like $450. It was a lot to spend, but the reason that we finally decided to go ahead and make it a priority, was because of all of the civil unrest that was happening last year. Riots breaking out everywhere. And my sweet son, Thad, he's 20 now. He was 7 in Adam's story, and now he's 20. He was the one who was going out to get our water, like filling up 5-gallon jugs and bringing them home. And every single time I sent that young man off to get that water, I just was like, I can't be sending him off to get water. Not that I necessarily was like afraid specifically of riots breaking out in our city, but you never know. You don't know what could happen, and just with it going on everywhere, it was like, you know what, we gotta bring this in house. Like this is a hole in our preps that we've got to fill.
Yeah.
And at that point,
it's a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Having to trust somebody else for our clean water supply.
Well, but it was just, the fact that I was having to send my son out.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, being able to stay home to avoid. Now, thankfully, nothing really broke out in our city. Thankfully, we were fine. But I don't regret that choice at all.
No, it's awesome. Being
able to have it, you know, in house. And so there's definitely like we've talked before. We don't have like huge. Well, I wish some of these buckets were buckets of money, but they're not. You know, we don't have buckets of money, and so whenever we make large purchases, it's kind of few and far between. A lot of our stuff is like super budget type stuff, DIY and whatnot. But like when we choose to spend more money, you know, there's reasons, and we don't regret that choice at all. So
in the long run, the Berkey saves us money. So
it does.
It's just an initial expense if we're paying 25 cents a gallon for water. When you do the math on the Berkey filters, there's no contest.
Right, it saved something cheaper. Like $1,000 a year.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I don't know if that included the price of the actual unit.
That's just filters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, once you have the unit, it's forever.
Filters. And anyway, actually, by the way, I didn't mean to talk about this specifically, but I kind of not really, but kind of almost wish I had seen the DIY Berkey filter or the Berkey unit. People make their Berkey unit out of buckets instead. And then you just use the filters, and then it ends up being way cheaper. Although I don't necessarily regret having a nice stainless steel
Yeah, it looks better on the counter than a couple of buckets.
But. That's true. But yeah. Anyway, and it unpacks. It's not very big if it like we separate it and you have to pack it in the truck or something. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, just sort of the crowds thing was on our mind and
yeah. So yeah, I mean, going into the holidays, I know everybody's going to stores a lot more. So yeah, I mean, if we can take opportunity to get ourselves stocked up a little bit more. I know people spend crazy amounts of money on Christmas stuff, and it's an awesome opportunity to maybe spend a little less on stuff that we don't really need and a little bit more on stuff that we might need. And it gives us an opportunity to not be the people who are, we talked about it before, the people who aren't part of the problem. People always talk about selfish preppers, but it's the opposite. We're helping you guys out by not trying to be in the store when the shelves are almost empty,
or not being part of the crowd, or donating of our stores to the food banks when the food banks are running out of food, or like we've donated to church, we've done like all that, or when people come down and they're sick with COVID, and guess who's showing up with food at their door, anyway, that was funny. Like, we had COVID in our house and we were quarantined, and it was so funny too. Like, this is like another one of those moments where I have the most amazing people in my life, some of the most amazing friends that you'd ever have, and I'd have people be like, oh, do you need anything? We can bring you something. You need somebody to help you shop, or what, like bring you groceries or whatever. And it was kind of like, we're good. We're set.
We got it a little bit. We got
a few things. We're okay. So, but yeah, it was just like really cool. Like, I mean, not that it's wrong to need help or accept help or whatever. Obviously, probably like if everyone in the house had gotten sick instead of just the boys, I probably would have like accepted some pre-made meals, so that I didn't have to cook. But as it was, no, we were fine, and we had Whole Foods deliver produce a couple times, and we were set. So yeah. Oh, but even now, like, continuing along the same thing, just not wanting to be out, not wanting to be part of the crowds, that the garden, we're getting ready for kind of our giant planting season. We should have been planting last month, so it's November. We should have been starting really in October, because we're in Arizona, and that's our huge growing season. But just today we were outside doing a bunch of cleaning, and I think that's another reason why I'm kind of like, because I was outside maybe a little too soon and it was dusty. But we got like 10 bushels of eggplants or something. Like, I can't even estimate how. Probably 2 5-gallon buckets full of eggplants, you think?
It's got to be 100 eggplants.
At least. So they're the long, skinny Japanese type. So I swear, I think 2 5-gallon buckets is a modest estimate. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if we organized them really well, they could probably fill 2 5-gallon buckets.
Huge amounts of eggplants. And then I'm also, my bell pepper plants are doing really well. I got like 10 bell peppers. So stuff is starting to really come in, and that is really exciting. We've got tons of kale out there. We didn't pick it yet. And this is my kale from last year. So this is like still just like, I haven't planted yet this year because it's been so busy. But yeah, focusing on plants that tend to be more perennial, and eggplants are not really perennials, but peppers are. And so I figured that out with my jalapenos, and I've planted now bell pepper plants, and it looks like those bell pepper plants are going to go the way of the jalapenos, and start producing bell pepper after bell pepper after bell pepper for us, which is really good because organic bell peppers are crazy expensive. But anyway, yeah, focusing a lot more energy outside, because that is our last hole, really. I feel, well, maybe not the last one, but maybe the biggest gaping hole in our self-sufficiency. I'm still going to need to be ordering bulk. I can't like grow all my own beans by any means. But that, like I said, like when we had with COVID, we had to have produce delivered a couple of times because we don't produce enough produce out of our garden for our family. But yeah, working on.
We have enough room.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a huge yard, but we could easily produce in the amount of space we have, plenty of fresh produce for the family.
Especially continuing to grow things like certain things that we know grow well here.
Yeah.
Certain things like, for instance, the kale. Like, we did have kind of a mild summer, but this is not the first time that kale has survived the summer here.
No.
As crazy as it may seem. Especially if it gets planted in kind of a spot that's not as hot as the rest of the yard. So like becoming more familiar with our garden and figuring out the microclimates in certain spots that are cooler. But kale is a biennial. And so especially if you're growing something like the one that I grow the most is lacinato kale, or I don't know if I pronounced that right, or dinosaur kale, or I think it's also called palm kale. I called it tree kale once and somebody corrected me, and yes, that's true. It's not tree kale, it's palm kale. And so I wish I had a picture. I should show a picture. But like the stalk gets like to be 4 feet long. Like it gets, that's why it's called palm kale, because over time it looks like a palm tree because the stalk just keeps growing higher. So you can get a huge amount of harvest off of just one plant. So yeah, I need to start doing more gardening videos and kind of putting that stuff out there, because yeah, you can have one plant that lives for 2 years and gives you tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of harvest. So focusing, that's more of a permaculture thing, focusing more on things that will yield over and over and over again and over time. So anyway, yeah, but we got to get our lettuces out there. Although I do have some lettuce. I have one lettuce. We were weeding and I found a lettuce. I was like, oh, these are my favorite kinds of plants. The ones that just come up. And I didn't even ask them. I love them. They make my life easier. Well, the ones I want that come up that I didn't ask. Bermuda grass. When are you going to go home? Just go back home.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I hear Bermuda's nice this time of year.
It's not from Bermuda. I believe it's originally from Africa.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of an incredible plant. I just don't want it in my yard.
It does nothing for us. We need grass.
Right. But it's like in the grasslands, and it's meant to survive like being trampled, right, by like rhinoceroses or whatever. And then it's still there for grazing, you know. It's an incredible plant, actually, when you think about it. In its native environment, I'm sure it's amazing. But now it invades everywhere because it's not native here. But people had to have green grass instead of gardens. What's up with that? Anyway. Golf courses. Anyway.
Just in case you have 3 hours that you have nothing interesting to do.
I can't believe this is the thing too that I think like now. Okay, I am part Scottish. Okay, I was going to say my grandmother's maiden name is. I'm not going to say what her maiden name is because it feels like that's an internet security question or something. Anyway, it's a Scottish name, okay, very Scottish name. We have ties to a clan in Scotland and all of that stuff. So that's where our lineage goes back. So I am part Scottish. I gotta say, I kind of cannot believe golf was invented by Scottish people.
Yeah.
Was
you
it
guys that throw trees around for
right?
Fun.
Yeah. How do you get like caber tossing and golf? Was it more fun originally? Maybe
they were doing something. I don't know.
Maybe they like came up with a way that it was more fun. Anyway, sorry. It's just sorry. Like I just like I think about that sometimes. It's like, how did that happen? It was like must have been like. I was gonna say, never mind. I was gonna say something. I was just saying, sorry. I didn't even say it. And I'm apologizing. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that. That was sage. But yeah, I guess that's good. So yeah, I guess that the whole gardening thing. The point of that was talking about kind of what is our next big focus. We're continuing to stock, but you know we're gonna get that set, especially with things coming down the pike. We don't know what's coming, so how can it hurt to have a whole bunch of produce? I'm getting ready to give away a bunch of eggplants too, by the way. Selfish prepper people. Don't, you know. If people even want my eggplants, I can't give away my jalapenos. My poor jalapeno bushes are so full of jalapenos. They're like drooping over, like, you pick up the branch and there's like, am I exaggerating? You pick up a section and there's like 30 jalapenos.
If we have any less than 200 jalapenos on those bushes, I'd be incredibly surprised.
200? I was thinking like, I don't know. I'm looking at that like, there's got to be like 1,000 jalapenos here.
And they're the hottest jalapenos on planet Earth.
I've never tasted hotter jalapenos, yeah.
Yeah, they're insane.
So cowboy candy is coming up. I was like, yes. Anyway, I need more jars. I need more 8-ounce jars. I don't have nearly enough of those. But anyway. All right, cool. I guess that's it. But yeah, I need to do garden updates, show you guys my jalapeno bushes. Actually, that could be kind of fun. We could show the jalapeno bushes and get everybody to estimate. And then, is that how people can win the giveaway?
Maybe.
Never mind. We won't have the giveaway contingent upon that, but that would be kind of fun. And yeah, we'll pick all the jalapenos and then count them and see how many are there.
Winner gets a bag of jalapenos shipped to them.
I didn't pick them today because I already, like I said, I've got like 2 5-gallon buckets of eggplants and I've got a pile of bell peppers. I have 2 jalapenos that fell off, but I'll just like cook those into something. But yeah, it's because if I can leave them on the bush, then that's basically almost like the fridge. Like, as long as they're still attached to the plant, they'll basically stay good. Although some of them are even like drying on the plant out there because I haven't been able to get out there. But I have to have a plan in place for those jalapenos before I pick them. It's kind of the problem. I've got huge orders right now. I don't mean to drag this on, but yeah, it's holidays, right? So we're coming up and I have my business. I make jewelry and stuff, and I've got a giant wholesale order for Canada, a shop up in Canada. I've got another one for a shop in California, and then holiday orders coming in, you know. Anyway, yeah, it's cool. So it's good. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And it's the busiest gardening season. And
it's my busy work season. Yeah.
Your busy work season. Kids have recitals and plays left and right. They're like, y'all know, it's the holidays everywhere. Happy holidays. No wonder everybody gets sick this time of year. People need a break. But anyway, let's mention as our goodbye. Do you want to mention this finally?
Yeah, I got one more thing to talk about, though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and talk about it then?
Okay. I shall.
Okay.
Like Heather was talking about getting, you know, all the holiday plays and all that stuff. We're going to probably have to find ourselves in crowds at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's a great opportunity to practice some situational awareness.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically just really paying attention to your surroundings. Know where your exits are, know where your escape routes are. Pay attention to how people are behaving. Is that one guy look a bit sketchy? Mm-hmm. You know, you can practice this just going into the store. You can, right. You know, going to a restaurant. You can, and the more you do it, the more adept you become at it. Being able to scan a room, see if anything looks weird, find your exits, find your fire extinguishers, you know, stuff like that. And you can make it kind of an automatic thing. So as you're going to that school play, just pay attention, and it can save you a lot of headache if something were to happen. If there was a fire, maybe you'd be the guy or girl that could put that fire out with the fire extinguisher because you knew where it was, or you could grab your kids and get them to the exit because you knew exactly where it was, and it prevents panic. Mm-hmm. Having a plan. So,
yeah, I would say, and I don't know if this is going too far for a lot of the women out there, but sensible footwear, or at least having an alternate. So like I have sneakers well, not in Thad's car, but I have sneakers in my car and in Adam's car, sneakers and socks as potential something to change into if I ever have to. But like even my dress shoes at this point are like boots. I'm sorry, I'm not all like, glamorous and stuff like I used to be. I don't do that anymore.
I'm a foot snob now, so I want all your shoes to have wide toes like my shoes.
My wide toe box boot. Yeah. I'm definitely, I am definitely a foot snob as well, or like a shoe snob as well. But yeah, sensible footwear, and then my purse is a backpack. So that's another thing that is like, I guess, in keeping with the situational awareness, that I just like always have my crossbody purse on, basically. And then even when we're in a crowd, I have it right here, and if we have to go, it's just like a phew, and then I'm ready to go. There's no like fumbling with all my stuff. It's all attached. And so I think streamlining stuff for women sometimes is more difficult, especially around holidays when we want to look cute. But
yeah,
you know, I don't know, I get nervous about stuff, so
yeah,
I'd rather, I don't know, sacrifice a little bit of cuteness for some safety. But anyway,
all right, giveaway.
So I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen. We just saw a thing pop up on my phone. It said something about the maximum storage had been reached. So hopefully,
you might not be seeing this.
Yeah, hopefully this is gonna go. But once we hit 2,000 subscribers, which we're getting very close to, we will be giving away the Firebox Nano Stove Kit. So I bought this absolutely brand new with birthday money. Actually, wasn't it birthday money?
I don't remember.
It was something. Anyway, I used special money because I wanted to do this for the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. This is brand new. I have a G marked on it because the G stands for giveaway. So anyway, it's the full kit. We'll talk about it more at another time, but I feel like people who are watching this video should get a secret extra entry because you watched to the end. So what should they say? Awesome, guys. Start off your comment with awesome, guys, and then say whatever else. And that's going to be a secret extra entry for the Nano giveaway. So when we announce the real giveaway later, if you enter that one, you'll end up with 2 entries. I just want to do that for the people who are here and watch to the end. I like to give advantages to the people who are not just showing up for the giveaway. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I am. So, all right, that's it. So, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you got something out of that. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Hopefully my phone will let us actually put this out. Okay. Bye. See y'all later. Bye.